consumer world, you can sit down and buy a car. And yes, you can buy a $70,000 car in a matter of a half a day. But if you want $50,000 to start up a business, there's a lot more hoops to jump through. Remember, you're coming with an ask. The demanding side just turns into kind of a shut down both directions. Guaranteed lending is lending by local banks. The government backs the loans or guarantees those loans. And so it allows the bank to mitigate some risk. There's several different programs that are out there. FSA has some programs, Rural Development has some programs. I believe there's some farm credit programs, but the one obviously for today is the SBA programs. And there's a couple different avenues within that. But the short story is that it is guaranteed by the government. At least a portion of that loan is guaranteed by the government. And so it helps a bank mitigate some of the risk associated with a startup company or a company that's maybe had some struggles. It's a good financing option because it's going to offer some longer terms, some longer amortizations, possibly even some longer amortizations with fixed rates than the bank is willing to get on board with. And so that portion helps out tremendously because it might lower some payments for you. Plus it'll help also mitigate some of your interest rate risk, which is always going to be out there. And I mean, that's obviously a real thing in today's time, especially with rates the way they are. Another item that's out there that helps out is it helps the bank mitigate the risk. Kind of as I said before, it allows us to make some loans that maybe would not get approved through a traditional credit and underwriting process. This would just kind of opens those doors to allow you to be able to borrow that money. Lower capital injections is the third item that's out there. So you can reduce the amount of capital required based off of the program that you've signed up for. Typically in standard bank financing, we're pretty hard-nosed about wanting 20% cash down for a purchase or 20% injection from the customer for a deal as a global look at it all. There's just the ability to help our community. An ability for the bank, I mean, for the bank it's a huge win because then it opens that door for us to be able to get in on the ground floor with somebody, but not have an insane amount of risk if somebody's trying to start up a business and just getting going. And there's definitely some statistics out there that line out how a brand new business and the struggles of the first 3 years of brand new business and the fail rates it's not real good whenever you look at it from that perspective. So it definitely opens for those avenues. That's probably one of the best things for it is startup business. So the biggest step, we don't have a hard, fast application. I mean, we basically a net worth statement, and then I want to see your plan. I want to see a plan with projections. I want projections that you believe in and that you understand how important hitting those marks are. I mean, I think sometimes people put together a business plan. They're like, oh, well, these are just wild numbers and yeah. And then they go on. But reality is, these are numbers that I'm going to look back at in my notes. And whenever that first year of financials come rolling in, because that is a requirement of an SBA loans to continually send in financials, I'm saying, hold on, you missed the mark. You missed what you set for your goal. And now we need to have a conversation about what are we going to do to get back on track, because this entire deal operates around you hitting what you're telling me you're going to do. And that's probably one of the biggest things is the business plan and then understanding of what's out there ahead of you. I think people come into the bank with a big fear of being told no, and I seldom tell anybody no. I normally tell them not right now, or we need to correct this, this, and this, and let's take a look at it again. But I'm not normally nope, we're not interested, see you later kind of guy. That's not our style at all. Some of it depends on the backlog with SBA and what that workload looks like. I mean, that's always out there. I think they project a 2 to 6 week turn time from them. And that's provided we get it through credit here, which is probably another couple weeks. And then, depending on what type of loan, everything's very situational. So depending on what type of loan, but if it involves some real estate, you've got appraisal, you've got title work, those companies take a while, a couple weeks a piece probably. it would not be unrealistic to end up being out at 60 days on it. I think part of the struggle that lies out there is that people are not investing the time to the research to put together a great plan. I think walking through that process, I mean, we're all pretty numbers driven in the banking world. So walking through that process and getting to hey, this is how we arrived at these numbers, and step by step and through that would help. I think there's another struggle that lies out there as I sit down with people that have good ideas, looking to get a business going. They typically don't know about this opportunity to come to sit down with the SBDC office and work their way through that. But I think if more people were to shamelessly plug, I mean, it'd be a win for all of us. Probably the biggest piece for me would be to come see your small business development center. Start there. Start there because they're going to lead you down a very good pathway and help you develop that plan. Without a plan, it's really tough for something to start up and come in the doors of the bank. I mean, I'm going to ask you for a plan, period. We're not going to do it on, well, I know you're good for it status.